Morning, the fighting continues between Armenia and Azerbaijan. More than 830 Armenian soldiers have been killed so far, according to official reports, that is. In Azerbaijan, we don't know because they don't announce their casualties. Now, there have also been civilians, and this is probably the worst part, killed on both sides.
Yeah, we're going into the fourth week now. Giving people a front row seat in the brutal pandemic-era war is one British journalist and self-funded filmmaker who is in the middle of all the action.
Just now currently on the front line, and as you see here, it's like trenches again. It's very much like when I was in Ukraine.
This is Emil Giesen, a former UK Marine who served in Afghanistan and Iraq.
So now we're inside the shelter here.
Now he's a documentarian, a war correspondent, a storyteller.
We can hear the shelling coming in.
He's seen war before, but this war is different.
It's not like me when I was in the military going to Afghanistan, where we all volunteered, we all walked in the careers office and we went to Iraq or Afghanistan to fight in another land. The people here are fighting for what they believe is their homeland, their own soil that their fathers and forefathers have lived and bled over. So it's very personal, this war.
What's also different is how this war is being fought.
So we can actually hear a drone going over. Azerbaijan using Turkish and Israeli drones is a game changer. Psychological warfare used by the drone is the sense that all they need to do is fly the drone over once, twice, drop a few bombs from it, and then the sound of the drone in the area again just scares people. People just run for cover. So they're controlling and dominating people by a sound because they know it relates to dropping a bomb.
Emil's stories on Instagram are getting a lot of attention.
They should not be shelling a civilian area.
He's showing his followers what it's like on the front lines.
Hello.
And he's showing the human side of the story.
Generations of blood have been spilt over this soil.
It's quite emotional to see a grown man cry by putting their son in the ground, and watching this Armenian man kissing his son for the last time before the lid of the casket goes on and they put him into the ground was really moving.
Emil says most of the women and children have fled Stepanakert. Those who've stayed behind are too sick or physically unable to travel.
That was the only children I actually saw my whole time there. And the reason they stayed behind is because their father's on the front line and the mother was looking after her mother, who's quite ill. She stayed to tend to her mother and the kids were there. It's heartbreaking to see these kids. And you see one of the boys is like a really, the kids, they're attractive kids. They've got that nice, smart, angelic faces as such. And it's just, they're surrounded by war.
Under international law, it's a war crime.
Emil also says the locals are pinning their hope of salvation on Russia because they say the rest of the world, including the U.S., is being indifferent.
Azerbaijan and Turkey's influence in it, well, causing this and creating this war at the moment, is the timing was perfect. Because the world's attention's elsewhere. You're consumed by the US elections. So if America, the most powerful country in the world with the influence around the world, is busy because there's an election coming up and COVID, they're going to turn a blind eye because the media are not interested in what's going on in the faraway lands in a place called Armenia and Azerbaijan, where majority of people haven't probably even heard of them countries or couldn't even point them out on the map.
Emil says, though, despite all of this, morale among the soldiers is high. The foreign ministers from both Armenia and Azerbaijan were in Russia. They held separate meetings with Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. They are headed now to the States to meet separately with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo tomorrow.
You really do see the face of war in those very powerful and really disturbing images, and the fact that he's able to get in there and bring this to the world, really, without, I guess, any real concern for his own safety?
Well, this is his passion, and he wants to tell the story. He says he wants to get to the bottom of the truth. He wants to do a documentary. He really wants to be embedded with the soldiers for at least a month, he says, to really tell the story, but he needs funding.